Chris, thank you very much for the early wake-up call. Let's talk about whether markets can be heading back towards record highs and beyond.
Look, the way we look at it, we separate out stocks and economic activity. And we have moved away from the discussion of recession with the yield curve that's, now steepened in the last month or so. So you have to ask yourself, has the market been rewarded for those benefits already? And we're thinking that we are kind of in an overextended period right now. But that could just be more backing and filling as we begin to hear from companies over the next kind of 4 to 5 weeks. Is this sustainable? I mean, what we were seeing this summer was out of Taiwan Semiconductor. There was a lot of activity in semis, which are generally a good forecaster of economic activity. And I think we've seen that for the last couple months. The question again, is that sustainable? Is it stuff that was pulled forward with companies like Huawei and ZTE that couldn't buy? And now you have a nervousness to say, let's stockpile. We don't know yet. But that's what we're going to be watching.
You mentioned the semiconductors as a leading indicator. A lot of folks do use that as kind of like their tell. Mm-hmm. We also look at small cap stocks as a leading indicator for what could happen. Small caps have not made the record run. Mm-hmm. Small caps have been far behind the rest of the large cap market. You manage a small cap fund. So are those small cap stocks something to be trusted with regard to whether or not the market overall is healthy?
So I think there's two things with small caps. One is we've been watching the high yield market, which is sometimes a good parameter. Are small caps going to be healthy? And the high yield market's been holding in there well so far. But what we need to see is reaccelerated growth, which then filters down to a lot of those small cap companies. And as the economy's changed in the last couple decades, small caps have more global exposure. So what occurred in the trade tariffs and wars and with Huawei, it did impact a lot of our small cap companies. But we're coming into an election year. We think a lot of those incumbents want to be reelected. So I think the rhetoric should get toned down a little bit, and that should be a positive, growth for the economy, which we think would be good for small caps. And money is flowing there at this point in time.
So how do you think 2020 then is shaping up? I mean, how are you positioned? You're a portfolio manager. You have to allocate money, cash to equities, certain parts of the spectrum. What exactly is the stance that you have right now going into 2020?
Yep. So at this moment, we are heavier in cash than we have been because we've had a great run for the last couple months. But what we'll be looking for is that rotation that we think is going to begin to occur. I think an area that we'd love to see, come back is more industrial names, capital investment that's been held back. So things like, fiber optics and fiber lasers, things that are out there that are technologically driven, have good technological moats where investment will go to modernize. But we need to see a little bit more of, is this sustainable? Again, the rhetoric's been pretty tough out there. And, we'd like to see the trade, agreement come through, but the right agreement. Don't just do one to do one.
What's the biggest thing that keeps you up at night as a portfolio manager right now? What do you think about when you think about 2020 and what could go wrong?
A tweet. It's
really a tweet.
We are one tweet away from being down 500 points. And it's that uncertainty of we don't know. We can't predict what's really going to be said. What is giving me a little bit more confidence is it's going to be an election year. And so are those tweets going to help the polls or hurt the polls? And I think your last guest on was talking all about unemployment. And I think that gets to the confidence and the confidence of voters. So I think that's going to be something that takes a lot more intensity as opposed to let's just fight with our trade partners.